Welcome learner in our science class for 5th standard. Learner, today I will explain you about the different method of preservation. Learner, food must be prevented from getting spoiled and there are so many methods that can help to prevent food from getting spoiled. The perishable food items like milk, meat, fruits, and vegetable must be stored in the refrigerators. And the food item like spices, cereals, biscuit, or other snacks should kept in airtight jar. And these airtight jars help to prevent these products from the moisture that is present in the air. And we should always keep clean and dry the shelves and the container in which the food items are stored. The food item which we buy from the market are processed, treated or handled in such a way that stop or slow down the spoilage of food caused by the microorganism, and this is called food preservation. So we can say that food preservation is the process of treating and handling of food to stop or slow down the spoilage of food. And the food preserved by this method can be usually stored for a quite long time, and it can be used even when it is not available in the fresh form. So, on the basis of perishability, food may be classified as follow. Perishability means how much long time food remains fresh or good for eating. So, first are the perishable food items that are spoiled very fastly, like the milk, fish, meat. These are the food items that spoil very fastly, so these are called the perishable food item. And next are the semi perishable food item, that the food item which take some time to getting spoiled. So the onion, potato, garlic, these are the semi perishable food items. And last are the non perishable food item that can remain fresh for the longer time without any preservation, like the rice, pulses, flour, wheat, cereals, etc. So now I will explain the different methods of food preservation, how we can preserve the different food item by using the different method. The first method is the dehydration or the sun drying. So it is the one of the oldest method and easiest method of the food preservation. The dehydration means the process of removing the water or moisture from the food items. So in this process, the water content from the foodstuff is removed by sun drying or by the heating artificially. And since the most of our microorganism need the water to grow, and if the moisture is not present, moisture is removed from the water content, they cannot multiply. So many vegetables like onion, cauliflowers are dried to preserve them. And next method is the adding of the sugar and salt in the food items. So addition of sugar and salt in the food item increase their affinity, or we can say that it removes the moisture from the food items, so that moisture is not available for the growth of microorganism. And this method is very useful for preparing the pickle or the jam. And sugar and salt, they are also act like a preservative, and some other preservative like the sulfur dioxide that is often used to preserve the juices and the soft drink, and the sodium benzoate that is often used to preserve the jams or the pickles. And the one of the most common preservative, that is the acetic acid or vinegar, that is mostly used in our kitchen for manufacturing of the pickled product. So we can use this preservative to preserve the food for the longer time. And next method are the canning and bottling. Canning and bottling involves the cooking food and sealing it in a sterile cans or jar. For the sterilization of cans and jar, we boil the can or jar in the boiling water to kill or weaken the remaining bacteria. So many fruits, vegetables, and meat products are canned to preserve them. And next is the most important method of the preservation of food, mainly for the milk, that is the pasteurization. And the pasteurization is the process in which the food item in the liquid form is subjected to the pasteurized heating for a short time and followed by the immediate cooling. And the temperature used during the pasteurization is below the 100 degree Celsius. It is moderately at 62 degree Celsius to 100 degree Celsius. So milk is pasteurized to kill the microorganism, and however many more heat resistance microorganism only get reduced in the number and do not get completely removed. So that the pasteurized milk must be generally stored under the refrigeration or at the low temperature to keep the check on the bacterial growth. This pasteurization has been named after the well-known microbiologist. Mm, he was a French scientist, that is Louis Pasteur, and who invented this method of the pasteurization. So, drinking of unpasteurized milk is generally not safe, as we can get diseases due to the presence of disease causing microorganism in the milk. And so we should always drink the fresh and pasteurized milk, and it increases, this pasteurization increases the milk safety and also increases keeping the quality of milk product by destroying the spoilage microorganism. And most common method that is we use in our kitchen, that is the refrigeration or the freezing. In this method we keep the food item at the low temperature or in the refrigerator to prevent the growth of microorganism. As you know, microorganism and the enzyme get deactivated at the low temperature, and hence the spoilage of food get prevented. And the last method of the food preservation is the vacuum packing. In this method, the air is removed from the package before the sealing, and the vacuum that is created by removing the oxygen in the package, and this limit the growth of bacteria or fungi in the package. And this method is commonly used to store the dry fruits like cereals, nuts, coffee, cheese, potato chips, etc. So, learner, you have seen that when we put some snacks or the biscuit on the table for the long time, they become very soft and their taste also changed. So, food items mainly contain the fats and oil, change their smell and taste, and become rancid in the presence of oxygen. So that's why the manufacturers usually fill the nitrogen gas in the packet of the potato chips and other snacks or namkeens to prevent them from being rancid. So next are the what are the importance of the food preservation. or we can say that how the food preservation is useful to us. You know that by preserving the food, we can use the food for the longer time, and even we can use the different food items that are not available in its fresh form. So, food preservation is very important for us. It maintains the nutritive value of the food, and it also increases the shelf life of the food and increases its supply. And it this food preservation makes the seasonal food available throughout the year. And at last, the food preservation also reduce the spoilage and the wastage of food. For example, in some countries some fruits and vegetables cannot be easily grown due to unfavorable soil or weather condition, and their non availability can be overcome through the import of the preserved foods and vegetables from the other parts of the world. So it is very important to preserve the food. Otherwise, most of the food get wasted. And you have seen in many parties how some people fill up their plates with all types of food that is available without even thinking whether they will be able to eat or not. And sometimes they are not able to finish even the half of it. So, what happens to the food that is left over in the plate? It is discarded and put it in the garbage or the dustbins. Is it right to waste the food? And especially in our country where the millions of people cannot afford even the one square of meals a day, we should only take as much as we can eat. So do not waste the food. Food is very precious. Take what you eat and eat what you take. Thank you. Have a nice day.